morning. I am Robin Binkley with my partner Courtney Moeller. We are Ladies Kicking Assets. And today we have the amazing Saket Jain with us. He has this phenomenal business called Migrate to Wealth. He has been involved in so many different backgrounds. But before we talk with Saket, we just want to remind you of a few things. We are not advisors in this area. We ask that you would consult your CPA and your legal team for anything that we discuss. We've just had a wealth of experience among the three of us, and I imagine that you can probably glean some nuggets from us. We also ask that you'd like and subscribe to all of our business lines, especially to Ladies Kicking Assets, and spread the word. So Saket, welcome this morning. Courtney, I'm so excited that we have the chance to talk with Saket. We know Saket from a mastermind group, and we'll probably dive into some personal things, but I'd love for you to share with us presently what projects you're involved in, and then let's kind of navigate backwards and talk about why syndicating and all the things that you're involved in. So welcome, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. I just spent, 5 days with you all.
Yes.
And I just can't have enough time. Right. So this is perfect. My wife's like, who are you talking to now? You just came back from Toronto. I'm like, two my friends.
My friends.
I think over the last 5 days, I've spent more time with you all than my family. So this is perfect. This is now extended family. So thank you for having me here.
We are.
I'm glad I was waiting for the invitation. It finally came. So to answer your question, Robin, what we're trying to do is really, a little bit background on my journey.
Mm-hmm.
I am a consultant, management consultant, recovering consultant, as I say. I used to buy businesses from my clients and kind of help them fix them up and then sell them. That's really what my focus was. And what I've started to realize was that there's so much money on the other side of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much goodness that can come from that money. Not that they were not good, but they were not helping the world the way I wanted to help the world. So there was a disconnect there. And then eventually I got laid off, which is the best thing that ever happened to me after my wife, that I actually got laid off, which opened my eyes to this false sense of security that we all live in. But I've since realized this: paycheck is not security. Paycheck is consistent income, which is two different things.
Yeah,
and it can end any moment, that stream of income. So since then, I've been on a journey for creating my own passive wealth. Most recently, I was with Airbnb. I've spent about five years there, leading their business operations practice. And then along the way, I've built a portfolio of apartments, multifamily investing. Last December was my last day at W2, December 2nd. So now I've pretty
congratulations.
Thank you. I've created fun. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. We're definitely now, it has completely, my assumptions of quitting the job and switching into this world was very different. I thought I'll have way more time, but somehow I filled it all up. For all the right things this time. Before it was just meetings. Now it's all the right things. So now fast forward, I have learned, I think we were talking about it during the mastermind, the gap and the gain, right?
Yes.
I can focus on where do I need to go. Yes. But what I want to say is that, perfect. Yeah, that's a great book.
Yes.
It is one of my favorite books.
Correct. So I was going to the phase that I have a lot to learn and I have a farther to go. But what I forgot about there was a conversation me and my wife were having is, what if something happens to me, right? Because I lost my sister 2 years older than me to COVID. Life is fragile, so we don't know. We're talking about what's my legacy to my kids, my daughters. Yes. I have two daughters. So we're like, you know what? Let's just record everything. They may hate me right now, or they may love me right now, but they're not going to listen to me, what I'm trying to tell them. Because they're not that at age. I don't think they're at that age, and maybe they are. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to wait for them to be ready. I'm just going to share whatever I know. And at some point in life, if I'm around or if I'm not around, they have something to listen to. And this would be my way of leaving my legacy for them, right? So that's really how the podcast started, the Migrate to Wealth. And that has now evolved into a lot of different things. And in terms of the syndications, we just launched a venture capital fund. We're closing the first investment in the next 2 hours here. So we're excited for that.
Oh my
gosh. We have a short-term rental fund. We have other syndications going on. So as I said, life's great, life's busy, but this time it's for the right reasons.
Mhm.
Love that. And we have to go down these different paths and things to figure that out. I was talking to somebody else the other day and having a conversation about what has led me to where I am. And I always sit there and think, gosh, I wish I would have figured out all of this, syndication and investing stuff, 20 years ago, but I don't know. I don't know that I was ready for it 20 years ago.
Right.
I
God's
wasn't. I
perfect.
wasn't.
And yeah, I
Nobody
don't
is, right? I mean, I asked the question on my podcast, what insight would you give a 20-year-old self, right? People have insights, but no one has ever told me I would change everything I do.
Yeah.
Or I
that
did,
is
right? No one.
true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think as we grow and evolve, and just like you talked about this, 5-day mastermind, and when you surround yourself with a different kind of people, and it's funny. I was at a different mastermind this last weekend, and it really does affect, the people you hang out with and spend your time with really do have such a major impact. And Dustin Bailey at one of our masterminds talked about, when he talks about quitting his job and raising capital, his friends all think that he's crazy. But when he comes into these groups, we had some people announcing that they had quit your job, and we're all cheering. And that is so not a normal reaction.
Right.
Right.
Oh, it's not. It's
Right.
not. As my wife says, you go there, you join a cult, and you're part of multiple cults,
Well,
and you pick up new things from different cults, and then you try and share. I'm like, I think it's time for you to join the same cults that I'm in. It'll be an interesting conversation.
I think more than anything, cult might be a good word to use, but you are with people who aren't afraid to go against the grain. And the
Right.
grain
Right.
is like everything from what we see on the news to what's being taught in schools. And the three of us could talk on and on and on about that.
Correct.
But I
Correct.
think it's really beautiful when you know what you stand for. And sometimes you've had a little fear to step out in that, and you find people are really out there embracing that and being very successful. And it's like, oh, wow, okay, I'm going to embrace this fully and use my platforms, my voice, to spread that message in my life, my personal life, my work life, my spiritual life, amongst my other friends. And those folks that don't align with you, they'll sort of filter off. And that's okay.
Well,
That's okay.
and I think sometimes the pruning is needed. You know how one of my mentors, I think it could be Russ, or I can't remember who gave me, the plant grows with pruning. You got to prune.
Yeah.
Right. You have to
so
prune.
true.
Otherwise, you're gonna stagnate. And until you do, now that doesn't mean you cut people off your life completely.
No.
You just kind of you grow new roads. You go in a different direction.
Right.
And that what do they say? Your net worth is your
Your
network is
network.
your net worth, right?
Yes, your network.
Which is very important. Where we were talking about who you hang out with.
Mhm.
I remember we were talking about. I said something during the mastermind saying I want to do this. One of the person said, "Why do you want to do this?" Like, I actually haven't thought about why do I want to do this.
I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
I do. I
want to
know what
talk
we're
about
talking
that.
about.
And it was
I
this
think it's
challenge, but the
important.
challenge in a supportive way. But challenge is not in a critical way.
No, it wasn't.
They're asking the question as somebody who you can bounce the ideas from. Like, I don't know what I want. Help me figure this out. I know where I want to go, but I don't know why I want it. So let me go deeper into that question.
So that's really important.
Sometimes it just takes a little while to figure that out. When I went
people know it off the bat.
No. And it's kind of funny, literally over the course of this last few days, I have really gotten very clear on my personal mission. And my personal mission is to keep $1 billion out of the hands of the IRS.
Awesome.
But it has taken me 2 years to really get that figured out and what that is. And really hone that in. And now, I've kind of been, I feel like I've just kind of been all over the place, a little bit of shiny object syndrome, because I want to do so many things and be a part of so much, but it was really trying to get clear. And it's funny, they talk about getting clear on what you are trying to accomplish. And I have literally finally had that light bulb go off. Robert Helms talks about you just one day you see things and you see it differently, and that has literally just happened to me within this last like 3 days.
Go you, Courtney.
I
Yes.
Yeah,
know.
good for
Yeah.
you. Good for you.
Thanks. So
Clarity
that
is
that
critical.
clarity,
Yeah.
I've been praying for clarity, and it's really just hit me. And so now, I'm going to be able to really focus, like, okay, this is my mission. This is what I am setting out to do. And it's going to be so much easier for me to figure out when these different opportunities arise and present themselves. Is this going to help me further that mission?
Yes,
So,
exactly. Exactly. I think we've all probably, in our business lines kind of, I don't want to, you said shiny object syndrome. It's like all these different projects and deals are great, but does it fit in my wheelhouse, and can I fully support it with the direction that I am working my business to go, with the lives that I'm trying to reach
Yeah.
out and touch and make differences in? So once that
What do they say?
happens,
What do they
yeah.
say? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
So saying no more than
Is important.
yes
Is
is
important.
is important. And knowing
Right.
that it's okay, to say no.
Right.
Well, Saket, I want to circle back to your girls. I know that you're a very busy businessman and you have a really supportive wife, but I also know that you are like super dad and highly involved in the lives of these beautiful 7 and 9-year-old girls, right?
Right. Right.
So how have you kind of set some boundaries with work so that you can be dad?
Yeah. So the thing
How
is,
does that work?
it's been hard. It's been a journey. So
Hmm.
I think I've kind of lost 7 years of my daughter, my younger one,
Hmm.
and probably 9 years of my older one, because I was a consultant, right? So traveling so much, working crazy hours. That's a problem when you have standards, so high standards for yourself, that you want to excel in everything, and
Yeah,
you can't be great at everything. You have to be great at a few things, right? So
right.
I've learned that. So when I quit my job, the first 3 weeks were amazing, because that vacation I took. So I quit on second, on 3rd of December, we made a decision that we'll go to Hawaii. 9th of December, we were in Hawaii, and we had no plans. Literally, we had no plans except the return flight. We didn't know where we were going to stay. We didn't know how long which island we're going to go. Well, we'll just figure it out, because and if you want to cancel it and extend it, we'll do that. If you want to reduce it, we'll do that. I had to record a podcast, so I did carry some of the podcast equipment, but I didn't work at all. Right. That was amazing. And the reason why I'm telling you the story is, I thought when we came back after about a month or two, I asked the girls the question, what was the best vacation?
Uh-huh.
Right. And they said, oh, Hawaii, we loved it. I'm like, of course you love Hawaii. Who wouldn't love Hawaii? But then thank God I had the awareness to ask them the question, what made it so good? Good.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the shaved ice? Was it the hiking? Was it just the open roof? Like, what was it? They're like, you know what? This is the first time you were not working.
Oh my
mm,
God.
It says it all, right? Kind of like for
Didn't
me,
that just pierce your heart?
it
I mean,
just
just
kills
like,
you. Like, what?
oh,
That's all they need.
wow.
They are not looking for a 7, 8,000 square feet home, or
Mm-mm.
right.
a 100 inch TV. They're not looking for all that stuff. That's us, right? And we
Right.
think that's what they need, but they don't. They just need your time and
They need
attention and
time.
quality time. So that's
Mhm.
what we have tried to figure out. And I think when I quit and I started going on this journey, and entrepreneurship, as you both know, is a very lonely journey,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't necessarily, no one around you understands what you're doing.
Right.
They think you're just crazy, which is
And they
perfectly
wonder
fine.
why. Why are they?
Why? Correct. What are you doing being so busy? I thought you retired. Well, like, it's not retired. That's a
Yeah.
very different definition.
Yeah. I rewired.
I rewired myself, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
I like that, retired to rewired. Maybe there's
Yeah.
a book
Brett and
there.
I say that all the time.
There's a book there. We should
To
copyright
write
it
that
before I
shit
But
steal
down.
that
okay, let's
idea.
the three of us collaborate on that. We have a
So
project.
then, you know what I've done now is, I'm like, what are the times that I still have to do the work I do, because I have a mission to help.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission is basically like just Courtney, like yours, who you were talking about. Our mission is to sponsor kids education back home in India. And our goal is by the end of 2030, we want to touch 100,000 young lives.
Oh,
Right.
that gave me
So that,
chills, Socket.
well, thank
Seriously.
you. We're that number is less important to me. If
Yeah.
it's even one heart, I'm fine. But I need a number. I'm a type A personality, right? I'm a result
And you gotta
oriented
think
I
person.
don't know
big.
what I don't know what
You
you
gotta
mean
think
by
big.
type A's.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, right? Maybe
That's another book.
yeah,
How many type A's can you have in one room?
exactly, right? So then we started thinking, okay, what do we want to do? Why did we quit? I didn't quit to get busy for another 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
So then now we started blocking the calendar, right? Like in morning,
Yes.
before at someday I could drop my daughters, someday I couldn't. Now from 6 to 9, I have no meetings, period.
Mhm.
So that's the time I go drop them, have breakfast with them, finish up their homework, whatever they need to do, come back, talk to my wife. So that 3 hours is non-negotiable. And the afternoon I go pick them up to the best extent I can. So I've now reorganized my calendar where there's certain things, and I didn't realize that the amazing conversations I was missing in the car.
Oh,
Yes.
That's
God.
like a best time. I'm like, I don't care about doing anything at that time or being on the computer, these YouTube shorts, which is super addictive, and I'm trying to get out of that.
I
They
know.
they have made the worst I think they don't even probably know what they have done. It's sort of like, I just do one more. I'll just do one more. This next one's gonna be great. And there you go, 40 minutes of your time is gone.
I
So
know.
we're trying to
You
develop
absorb so
those.
much content.
You do, and it's all crap, most of it.
I
So
know. I know. What do you really do with
So,
it?
anyways, to coming
Mm.
back to your question, really, we're trying to figure out how can we schedule more time in. Like you know that over the last, I think you and I have talked about the girls were off. My girls were off for 3 weeks.
Hmm. Yeah.
I canceled every single meeting
Yeah,
for
you
those three
did. You
weeks.
did.
We
And I
Those
thought
literally
things
that was
are
traveled.
great.
powerful. The ability to shut your business down and devote yourself fully in mind, body, and spirit to whatever it is you choose, your family, here is what we're specifically talking about, your girls, is powerful. So you've set your business up to operate
Mhm.
where you don't have to be in it day in and day out,
Yep.
but you can be fully present. I mean, how many times have we all like been in the car with our family and we've been doing a business project or a recording?
Right.
It's like, shush,
Right.
shush, shush, nobody say anything,
Right.
I'm in my car doing this. And it's like, you're with them, but you're not with them,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And like
Yep.
Courtney, you said
I'm
that
proud of
you're
you.
not coming to one of our upcoming trips to
I
Belize, because
know.
you have a very important event that will
She
never come
does.
back.
She
Yeah.
does. And you're where you need
Well,
to be. They need you.
Well, and I love that you are talking about rescheduling thing. That is one of the things that I started working on this year, is scheduling that time with my family
Yes.
and
Yes.
then scheduling everything else around it. Because at the end of the day, we don't get that time back. We
No.
cannot replace that. And that's what our kids want. So I have it blocked off where, my husband takes the boys in the morning, I pick them up in the afternoon, and I have actually gotten rid of all of my evening things
Right.
because that's my time with my family. And if I can't get it done during the day, then it's not going to happen. And
No.
now we are scheduling, trips. And, my husband just took my youngest son to Chicago last week. It was the two of them.
Nice.
They went on this trip
Oh,
just
how
to
was
have,
that?
they had so much fun. They went to a couple of Cubs games and had such a great, Jaden is still talking about it, which is amazing.
That's
And,
amazing.
my 16-year-old loves history and he loves, like World War II. So Joe's going to take him to the World War II History Museum in New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Nice.
just getting this, special time penciled out, scheduled out, and everything else can go around it. And I have that
Mhm.
certain time blocked off for Bible study, picking up my kids, and I have gotten rid of all of my evening things. Last year, I was on Zooms every night during the week. And I said, I'm not doing that this year. I am done doing
Right.
that.
No, no.
It's important. I think you also said something, Courtney, which I don't know if you said, you probably said it in passing, but it was very powerful. Which I use all the time, which is non-negotiables, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
Mhm.
these are your non-negotiables. It's very important. I didn't realize that coming off of the work, even during my W-2, is that I didn't have a non-negotiable.
Right.
Yeah.
Work was my non-negotiable, which is
Right.
fine. It was a season in my life when I needed it, but I'm a different season now, which is my family is my non-negotiable.
That's
And
right.
of course, for them also, there's not enough time, right? But
Yeah.
you have to balance it all out.
No, and this will be my first year to miss the Belize Summit, and I'm really sad
Oh,
about that. This is that, the real estate guys tribe is kind of my extended family. It's my work family. I love the people and the connections that I have there. But, my son's got his World Series and he was invited to play, at the College World Series in Omaha. And I can't miss that.
No,
And
you can't. Oh my God. No.
I would never forgive myself. And as important as, that time in Belize is, this is something that I can never get back. So we'll
Right.
be there next
Right.
year.
Well, we're pivoting there as well. I'm going and I love it, but we're coming back 3 days early because we've got some family commitments that we're not willing to skip out on this year.
Right.
And we're all really talking about how we've shifted and worked with our time. I think there's a window that is natural that we all go through where it's like, everything's on steroids, we're on everything, we're attending everything, we're doing everything. And then you mature a little bit in yourself and well, like we've said, we all recognize our why. What is it that we're really trying to do here? And we back off, on some of those commitments so for example, I will tell y'all, I have pared my day down to, I shut my day off at 3. Okay, I really do. Now, what I mean by that is I don't, unless I absolutely have to, take another business call after that time. So I'm closing things down, getting myself ready for the next day. And if it's something that I absolutely have to be on, I'll do it. If it's, an appointment with somebody no one else has absolutely any other time, we'll kind of discuss that. But outside of that, I really
That's
don't
amazing.
anymore. And that was just implemented this year in January for me.
Well, I feel like in
not
our
long.
circle meeting, that was a lot of everybody's goals. I think all of us, worked
Differently,
so
yeah.
hard last year, 28 hours a day to kind
Yes.
of get things done. And it was really kind of across the board. All of us were like, this year we're going to work smarter and not harder and streamline processes and really kind of get that time back with our families that we sacrificed because at the end of the day, if we're working smarter and not harder, we can get everything that we need done during those hours and not take that away from our family.
Right, just collapse those time frames. It's
I'm
really
with you. I was listening
effective.
to I think it was Joe Rogan or Ed Mylett. I can't remember who it was. He said the way he looks at his day is he was talking interesting. He was like, you know what? When the earth revolves around the sun, that's 1 year. Weeks, days, hours, these are all abstract concepts. What if you can divide your awake hours into 3 shifts of 6 hours each, right? And you basically say, I'm going to fit 3 days into 1 day.
Oh, wow.
He's like, you're productive. He's like, what happens usually is, I'll do it in the evening, right? I have a full day. You get up at 5 or 6 or 3, whatever time you're getting up. Like, I have a whole day. I'll do something in the evening. He's like, what if your day is 6 hours, right? From like for me, it'll start at 9. From 9 to 3, that's a 1 shift. I can get a lot accomplished if I know my day is 6 hours instead of 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just a different mind shift of how can you squeeze more hour. I think part of that is I'm a I think addicted procrastinator. If that's even a word.
I don't know if I'd say that about you.
I love it, right? Procrastination. I'll wait till the
Addicted
end. I love pressure. So I
thrive
put my
under pressure.
Me too, right? I'm like, I'm just gonna if I have 1 month, I'll wait till the day before.
I'm not exactly like that. I'm not. No, I mean, I operate well under pressure, but I have really, since I've made the shift, I'm telling you, I'm like super like getting tons more done. I'm not so backed up,
I think that's where I was going. Now that my days are compressed, that I have to fit everything. The procrastination is actually self-cured.
Yes.
Because I don't have time to. I'm like, okay, I'll send an email tomorrow. No, just send it out. If you thought about it, just record it. It's gone. It's done. It'll take me 2 minutes instead of keeping it back of my head. So that's been helpful.
Well, we're going to tag that. You're a self-cured procrastinator.
I like that. Thank you. Let's not make sure we make it too public.
I think it's great. I think that people need to know how like really can you get your business done and be effective and instead of like spreading it out till, oh, I've got to be on this Zoom call with somebody at 8 p.m. because it's convenient for them. Well, that
Right.
doesn't serve
Right.
me and my business.
No, it doesn't.
well.
It doesn't. I mean,
Not
so
the
then the way
best.
to look
I
at the
mean,
business
some people might
is,
be, but I'm not.
yeah, I think the way I've started looking at investors need you more than you need the investors, right? In our business, we're all raising capital, we're all doing deals. That, yeah, there will be a time, there's season in life and season in business where you need to make sure in the
Yes,
evening you're available.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
most of the time, what we're offering to our investors is equally valuable than what they're offering us, right? So the times and schedules have to work for everyone. Otherwise, maybe you got to find a new investor group.
No, and that's one of the things, that I've really been trying to focus on is really kind of shortening and narrowing things down and being very aware of people's time. And, the people we work with, they've got all this stuff going on too. They're busy. So, taking something that would generally take an hour and figure out how to condense that down to 30 minutes and I think it's better for everybody.
It's
It
far
is better
more
for everyone.
effective. Yeah. Because you think about what are they retaining from all that you've said?
Yeah. Like,
It's
kind of
really
funny.
about the first 10 minutes and that's it.
My wife used to say, just call this person. I'm like, I cannot get off a phone for less than 45 minutes.
Oh, Saket.
It just takes me time because I just want to say, hey, I need this and put the phone down. I'll talk to them. I'll understand that. It's like 45 minutes per person, Saket. If you talk to 10 people, that's pretty much all your day. So you got to start condensing it and trying to figure out what can you get done in 5-10 minutes. The effect is still the same. I had to shift my mental one, like I need to be more effective in their time, right? Courtney, what you said was very powerful. Forget about your time. Their time is even more important. So if you start respecting that, you'll compress a lot of good things in that time.
It is. It so is. Well, let's just take a couple of minutes here. Our time's kind of winding down. Saket, tell us where it is that what are you focusing on now? I know you just mentioned your joint venture and you're closing on a project here at this point, about an hour and a half, which is very exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting.
What else do you see in your?
So I think it's Russell Gray, which who's the co-host of the Real Estate Guys radio show. He's one of our collective mentors, right?
Yes, he is.
And he and I had probably like 3 hours of conversation, this overall spread throughout multiple days. And one thing he kept reminding me, what's your mission, right? Don't forget your mission.
Yep. Right.
And it's really more, Courtney, you said that, and I know you live by it, Robin, is what you're doing going to serve that mission? And our mission, I keep reflecting on that, really is to give back to the community in India where I come from. Doesn't mean that's the only place they need help. They need help all across, even in the US. But that just speaks the most to me because that's where I came from.
Right.
So if we need to do that, whatever I'm doing, this podcast that you guys are doing, I use that as a message to spread that message that wherever I can find a plug, I'm like, you know what, this is what the most important thing. But what we don't want to do is, and I'm not saying there's not a place for that, we don't want to help the kids through donation. Because what happens with the donation is, I'll use you guys as an example. Let's say you did commit $1,000 as a pledge every year. If you have problems in your life, in your family, and you really need that $1,000, you're going to forego your pledge. Like, that's just human. That's just human nature.
Right.
Most of us, at least. I'm not talking about you two, but I would say majority of the human population will say, well, I need it, so I can't give that $1,000 because my family can't eat, right? We're talking about those needs. So at that time, what happens with somebody else who actually was dependent on that $1,000 because they built their whole business model around the pledges? It's not fair for them. So what we're trying to figure out is, we know how to invest our money. We have built our own life around that. So how can we now help Courtney, help Robin, help the other people in the world where they all want to contribute? They don't want to pledge because there's restriction that comes with pledging, right? And we're all about freedom. We're saying is we're going to actually use investment as a vehicle to create our investments, the profits that we generate and the returns that we're giving to our investors. They can now choose to give that up because that's a surplus income at that point, right? For most of us.
Yeah.
That if we're making $1,000 every week, every month, whatever portion you want to do, whatever portion we want to do, that's all personal choices. We're trying to build a whole platform. So we're now launching our own nonprofit in the next few months. That should be live. We're now tying the investment into the foundation and we're making this one big circle.
I love
to make sure that we
So
serve that.
instead of taking that money, I'm just going to make sure I've got this right. Instead of me just going, hey, I'm donating that $1,000, you're creating an investment
Correct.
donation. That way I'm investing in, my money is going into that investment, which is going to continually create
Exactly.
flow. That
Exactly.
is
We're now
really,
basically creating. Then there was an aha moment for us, right? So we have worked for our life for W-2,
Mhm.
and that has served a great purpose. I don't want to demean that, but what the life has been very different once we started generating passive income,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to generate passive income for nonprofit organizations who are actually serving the cause, right? It's really a great parallel between the two.
I
So
love
that's
that.
exactly our mission is. That's exactly our purpose. That's what we wake up for. Well, like, now we needed to tie the two together because before it was disjointed.
It's like
Now it's
infinite
connected.
donations, or there's some kind of great
Right.
tagline or something that you can
Mhm.
tie into that, passive donating or something like that.
Something like I would love to explore that maybe next mastermind when I meet you guys. I would love to get some thoughts on that. But that's really where the whole mission now become that don't make nonprofit as an afterthought. Don't make your causes as an afterthought.
Right.
Let's
There you
figure out
go.
our causes need to be one of our non-negotiable.
Yes.
And once we all know that, once we say it's non-negotiable, your mind's going to work in overdrive and figure it out. Once the family became non-negotiable, we figured out the time, right?
Yes.
But that's what
You
we need
made
to do.
that the
And
priority.
that's a priority. And if it is a priority, let's work towards it instead of saying when I'm 80, I'm going to give $1 billion away. It doesn't help a lot of people because you could have given $10 billion away if you
Uh-huh.
structured it properly.
Sure.
So very true. So very true. Wow, that's powerful. I love our cause is a non-negotiable. Make your cause a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Goodness, bless you. Wow. Well, Saket, you have really shared some amazing pieces with us today that I think that our viewers and our listeners will really be able to kind of put in place practically, but also give them food for thought. So how might our viewers and listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, definitely. So we have our own podcast, which I know, Robin, you were there, and Courtney,
Yeah.
I need to find time with your busy schedule. We'll figure it out. We'll get you on there as
Look
well.
it.
Migrate to Wealth is our show. It's purely educational, just like this one. We
Right.
don't pitch anything. We don't talk about
No.
investments. We have our approach for that podcast is making you a 5-dimensional human being, right? We talk about mindset, we talk about your body, we talk about relationships, we talk about money, and we talk about impact. These are the 5 dimensions of life which are important to me. Doesn't mean that's the only 5 dimensions important. These are 5 dimensions how I've arranged my life around. So we're basically always bringing out guests where we're talking about these 5, with investment being a pretty big thesis.
Sure,
Given
because
when I
it's a
set
lot
the
of what we
foundation,
do.
because we want to create the passive donation model or whatever Courtney was talking about. Right? I need to figure out how to phrase that, but that's what we're doing. So investing is a big piece. We're also bringing sure that we have all these aspects covered. And you know what? Also, it keeps me honest. I struggled with my weight throughout my life. So I'm like, if I'm talking about that, I need to prioritize my own health. And that has actually focused for help me prioritize that. And that has become my non-negotiable, which has been very important to me. So with this, I'm actually growing myself leaps and beyond bounds just by doing this podcast. So this has been helpful. So that's where they can find me, Robin.
On the
They can log
podcast,
on to
Migrate
our,
to
they can
Wealth.
log on to our Migrate to Wealth. We have a private Facebook community. You'll have access to all of that stuff through that.
Great.
That's really the best way to get in touch with us.
Okay. I love that.
And what I would say for your guests, for your listeners, is that if you can send me a screenshot of a 5-star rating for this show, I will give you a 15 minutes of consultation with me, which I don't offer anybody.
Oh, nice. That is very generous of you.
First 20, right?
Okay. Thank you for that. That's
Sure.
very generous. If I give my own self a 5-star rating, do I get to come and?
Hey, that would be my 15 minutes with you. It'll be reversed.
You rate me, I'll rate you. We'll rate you too.
There you go.
We'll just shift it.
We'll just shift it. Yeah.
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I spent the weekend with Mark Victor Hansen and Brandon Barnum, and they wrote, Raving Referrals, Chicken Soup for the Soul. But Mark Victor Hansen has a book called Ask. And so we really talked a little bit about that, about asking, for the things that you need. Ask God, ask others. And that's a really powerful thing to do. That is not a strong suit of mine, but that's something I'm working on that book now. And that is going to be something I'm going to start doing, is
That
asking.
really resonated with you. Yeah, I love that. That's
You
awesome.
don't ask, you don't get, right? The worst thing that
right.
can
You know
happen
what?
with
The worst
ask
thing
is
that
no.
happens. Yeah. Yes. I say that to my family all the time, to my children. I really do. They'll say, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, just ask the question.
Just ask the question.
Just ask. Okay, well, we are going to need to wrap up, Saket. I love how you shared how our listeners can get in touch with you. As always, please reach out to Courtney and myself at ladieskickinassets.com. Subscribe to our channel and share what we've talked about. All right.
And have an
Thank
amazing
you all.
day.
Thank you all for having me.
Powerful
Have an
week.
amazing day.
Powerful
Thank you.
week. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Saket.
Thank you.